Hello and welcome back once again to the Premier Injuries channel. Ben is trying his best to distract me, and I didn't do a very good job of not being distracted. In terms of it, do remember to subscribe to the channel. We've got so much good content here, as Lynn has shown you out. Just hit that button below. Hit the notifications button as well so that you can be alerted as soon as the videos are up, because we do the most up-to-date injury news as well. If any player's injured, we give you no rumors, we give you no misinformation, we give you the most accurate and expert analysis on them. But today we're talking about the bad prospects and the ones to possibly wait on. Before we go into what I've written down, Ben, you wanted to bring a team to the table. You wrote very interesting messages in the group chat about one team, Leeds United. Not a big fan, are you?
You want to start the show with a rant?
Yes.
Look, how many times do we talk about teams underlying data not performing? Let's look at the end results. Let's look at Leeds not winning. Let's look at Leeds drawn with Newcastle, getting beat at home off West Ham. Hide behind the injuries, hide behind the suspensions, hide behind key players missing, but ultimately you're still not. It doesn't matter what the data says. It doesn't matter how much you eulogize about Marcelo Bielsa. Great, fantastic. But you know what? Do you know what I'm starting to see now? I'm seeing a pattern of play, how you know how Leeds play. And regardless of what's happening on that pitch, Leeds will continue to bomb forward, to play great when it's working out. Manage the game against West Ham. Does that not come from Bielsa? I mean, look, yeah, I'm just a pundit looking in from the outside and a manager who is absolutely lauded within the game. But to me, it needs to be managed. If they had to come up against better opposition against Newcastle on another day with better finishing, we could have had 3 points that night as well. You know exactly what you're getting with Leeds. Nothing's changed. And the suggestion and talk is nothing will ever change. Well, great. You're never going to win anything. There you go. I'll leave that there.
Good rant.
Do you want to add anything to that rant?
No, like they've been disappointing, haven't they? Like we were promised so much, but we've been giving not.
I mean, I've been a big fan of them, probably much to Ben's annoyance on and off screen. I think that I still trust in them for the short term because of the fixtures. You look that they've got Watford next. It would be daft to transfer out when they've got Watford next. And then in game week 10, they've got Norwich. And in between then, they've got Wolves as well, who I count as a bad team at the moment. Maybe after that, the fixtures do get a little bit more difficult and I might reevaluate then. But for now, yes, they haven't been too good, the team. But if you look at the individuals like Rafinha, he's got 3 goals already. I mean, what more can I expect from a 6.5 midfielder? He's done what I've got him in for. He's got 2 goals in 2 games against Newcastle, West Ham. He got 1 against Everton, obviously blanked against Liverpool. And in the Man United game, they were absolutely destroyed and didn't do much against Burnley. I mean, 50% return rate for a 6.5 is not bad at all. Would you agree on that, Lynn? I mean, you were a big anti, again, not because you think he's a bad player, but you just weren't on the Rafinha train. Do you think that maybe he's punished people that haven't got him in? Or do you think that 3 from 6 games, not that big of a deal?
Like he is their best player. Like we can't discuss that. That's just how it is. But do I trust him for fantasy football points? I do not. We've got good options. We've got Sarr, we've got Benrahma, we've got, even if you go up a little bit, we've got Greenwood and Jota. I don't know. With the fixtures, I agree with you. He's probably a good player to have, but I wouldn't say he's essential. You can make up those points elsewhere.
Yeah, I would say that he's not essential either. I don't think you have to have him in your team, but at his price point, I would say that I even like him a bit more than Benrahma, just because I feel like the underlying data for Rafinha has just been a little bit more promising. But arguably Ben Rama's in a better team and he has more opportunities there. In terms of the bad teams, though, let's continue with the discussions there. I want to bring to the discussion table Everton. I think defensively, they're very bad. Looking at them, I was absolutely blown away by kind of researching this data. They're the second best team for XG conceded so far this season. You wouldn't have thought that looking at their performances, though. I mean, that's the worrying thing. They've got 7 goals conceded so far. So they've actually underperformed the 5.5 XG conceded, whether that's down to the players in terms of their defenders or if it's down to the goalkeeper. I'm not so sure yet, but there seems to be blame in both of them. And now looking at it, they actually go into a really tough run of fixtures as well. You might trust in maybe Calvert-Lewin or Richarlison if they were fit to kind of score in those games. I wouldn't trust in their defence in any of them. But the fact that those two are out now as well, I think that totally devalues Gray. And I think that they're going to be a tough watch over the next few game weeks. Ben, what do you think on Everton?
I think Everton this season have went against all of my preconceptions, what I expected from Rafa, given my experience probably from his time in Newcastle. Everton have been a lot better than I initially anticipated, but I think that was maybe due to the circumstances around his appointment, his affiliation with Liverpool, and that need for Everton to start the season well and try to get that Everton support backing the manager, because that environment could have turned toxic quite quickly. If they hadn't have started on the front foot and got those points on the board. Injuries are huge to key players. We know that Salomon Rondon's currently leading that line. He isn't where he needs to be in terms of fitness, and that's to be expected. He's been thrown in a lot earlier than anticipated. He's had 4 months out of competitive football, and then all of a sudden you lose Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin, and he's been asked to do a job, and he is doing that. For me, Andros Townsend is the player that I'd be looking to buy into that squad. I'm not convinced with Demarai Gray, despite the start. I'm a little bit disappointed with Lucas Digne. He's a player who I thought, given that Rafa's tactical nous, I expected Everton to be really tight. But going forward, he would bring those offensive returns, lots of crosses in the box, but it hasn't necessarily been reflected in his output. So he looks, it's hard to go against Everton because they're going against all of your beliefs. And I'm still expecting to do bad, but like I say, they're a little bit of a surprise, a pleasant surprise. And I've quite enjoyed watching them. I love Doucouré in the centre of the park. I think he's a great asset. He's been given a little bit more of a license to roam. Predominantly, we'd see him in that double pivot, that double six alongside Alan. But now, he's come out and he said, Rafa, go forward, make those runs, find those spaces, and that's reflected in his returns already this season. I think he's a great buy. We've seen it in glimpses at Watford, and now we're seeing it at Everton.
And Lynn, what do you think on, I guess, your rivals? You got your Liverpool shirt on today. Do you think that they're good but going into a bad run of fixtures, or they're just not good and they're now going into a bad run of fixtures?
I think they're a decent team. I think they're decent even in defense and offense. Personally, I really like Doucouré. Like, we saw his quality at Watford. When he was at Watford, we saw his quality. And now he's at Everton with a better team. And I think we'll see a lot more from him. I think he could be like a stable income for points at a good price. So yeah, he would be my pick. He is my pick.
So will you be keeping him, though? Because going from this game week over the next 8 game weeks, Everton have the 5th worst run of all teams in the Premier League. Man United, West Ham, obviously Watford, Wolves are a little bit easier. Tottenham, maybe not so bad. But then Man City, Brentford and Liverpool as well. Kind of, 2, 3 and then 3 sandwich there. Not a very nice bunch of fixtures. Is he worth just keeping because of his price point? He's relatively cheap. keep the faith, or will he move him on and then maybe bring him back when the fixtures do turn in their favour again?
He wouldn't be my priority transfer at all. But if I had to get rid of a free transfer, I would consider getting Gallagher in for him with the fixtures they've got. They've got a bit of a mix. So that's what I would do. If I had a transfer to waste, I would probably get Gallagher instead. But if I had other fires to put out before him, then definitely just keep him. He's good enough for that.
Yeah. And the thing is as well, something that Ben and I have discussed, since the start of the season, is that the COVID situation, the injury situation has meant have a strong bench. So you can bench Decore because he's not that expensive, and you can still possibly get him come on, give you appearance points, maybe an assist, maybe a goal here and there. More on the kind of teams that are bad or maybe should be considered bad. Ismail Sarr, I think keeping just for one game week, and then Watford, I mean, let's just have a look at these fixtures. The worst run over the next 8 game weeks. And this is like the run from hell. After game week 7, Liverpool, Everton, Southampton, Arsenal, Man United, Leicester, and Chelsea. I mean, this is dreadful for a promoted team. The good thing is for them that they've kind of got the results in some of the games that they needed to. This was something that I said with Sarr, that he needs to turn up in these games because these are the 3 pointers that they need so that they stay up this season. But until really game week 16, the team are just, there's no hope there at all. Dennis is fairly well owned. Sarr, a lot of people kind of jumped on. But after game week 7, you talked about priority transfers there, Lynn. Is he a priority out?
Yeah, I'd probably say he would be. To Gallagher, obviously, because that's an easy one. Yeah, he's super good for these 2 fixtures here, or 3 fixtures. Go back a bit, but I don't think Watford are offensive enough or creative enough to score against most of those teams.
Yeah,
I don't.
Yeah, I mean that was the style that they had last season. Though, was a fairly robust defense. That was kind of the way that they got promoted from the Championship. They're kind of good on the counter, but most of the time they were just seeing out results by being strong, especially at home as well. That was the hallmark of the Watford style. Ben, you were never strong on Sarr anyway. In terms of it, I guess I don't even need to ask you the question. Get Sarr out as soon as possible, you'd say.
The postman. The postman, and why is he called the postman, you may ask? It's because Ismail always delivers. You know what it is? I've been waiting all day to say that. All day.
And you say you're not that into dad jokes. Come on.
Come on. How are you?
That was a pretty good one.
I like that one. No, you know what? You mentioned Sarr, who I would keep. Well, would I keep? Owen, you've overlooked, you've not even mentioned Josh King. And you talk about how Watford may not have the capability of scoring goals in these upcoming fixtures. Yes, it's a tough fixture run, but Josh King hasn't played a lot of football over the past year. He's somebody that's now getting minutes in his leg. And let's not forget, he was a quality act when he was at Bournemouth, lost his way at Everton. And we've seen an unfortunate, a little offside toe at the weekend there. He would have got a goal and assist, got his assist the week before. I think he's, creating a decent little partnership, with some of those attacking players. I think the addition of Sissoko has helped. And maybe I don't think Watford are as bad as maybe some people suggest. I think they're, outside of that top 8, maybe 9 in the Premier League, and then maybe the top 6. The rest of them are cannon fodder. There's no great shakes between any of them. Really, I think they're all more than capable of beating each other on any day. And I wouldn't go offloading all of these players. Look, when players are in form, informed players can transcend fixtures. So look, I play devil's advocate, and I like to swim against the tide a little bit. Just have a little bit of belief in the players. If they played well in the scoring, well, because then players are going to be walking on the pitch thinking, well, this is my opportunity to shine. We've seen Sarr against Liverpool when they were last in the Premier League. It was probably their best performance of the season. 3-0. Sorry, Linn. How many people would have expected that? Did Sarr get 2 on that night? Fantastic. They blew them away. Liverpool were absolutely terrible.
You're enjoying this too much.
Like I say, if you focus solely on fixture difficulty and what potentially could happen in the upcoming games, then you're missing out on opportunities to really, steal a bit of a march on some of your rivals who inherently will choose to go down that route and just ditch players.
I guess the good thing with Sarr, maybe I'm not so sure on Josh King, but I guess he will be a firm starter as well. Sarr will start week in, week out. He is the talisman, so he will play. I just think that, and maybe Linn might agree with me here, that Sarr, we got him in because of those great run of fixtures, because he can do it in those, but we don't trust him in these others. And this is almost where you pick up the points where you do well in FPL, is knowing when to jump off. Well, you said it yourself, Ben, last week, knowing when to jump off a player and when to jump on a new one. And this could be the opportunity. As Linn said, Gallagher goes into a fairly nice run, whereas Sarr doesn't. I think that's probably the thinking there, Linn, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, we do get one free transfer a week, and most of us will have wildcarded or are on the wildcard this week. So I think our team should be in pretty good shape, and that could enable us to do this transfer.
Yeah. I still haven't wildcarded, and I'm not planning to yet. I'm keeping it. Very exciting. Let's move the discussion though to West Ham. This is one team that I'm not sure what to do about them. Ben, you might be better to kind of start this one off, but with their situation, Antonio, fantastic. I think he's a long-term keeper until obviously he gets injured or something. But looking forward, they have a fairly tough run of fixtures, not great. Defensively, they haven't been too solid, but it's the big Europa League thing for me, the fact that they're in Europe. If you've doubled or trebled up, a lot of people own Cresswell. There's a high ownership on him, high ownership on Ben Rama, who hasn't looked fantastic over the last few game weeks. He did well in the last game, but he didn't have amazing data against Leeds. In terms of it, is it time to possibly consider them as an asset and focus the shift elsewhere?
I think it would be a bit rich to stick with triple West Ham. I think double is more than enough. I'd probably feel a little bit more comfortable with just the one, maybe Antonio. There's two ways you can look at this European adventure, as it were. One, there's going to be a fatigue factor. But if David Moyes continues to rotate his squad, involve some of those fringe players, keep everybody more or less fit and healthy with a clean bill, then great. Get the results. That can breed confidence within the squad and carry that, that confidence and that belief into the Premier League. So, 3's a risk, 2 is a push, but I would certainly still keep my finger in the air in the West Ham pie with at least one player. Antonio.
Linn, Antonio, 43.2% ownership. I don't think anybody should get rid of him. But Ben Rama's 36.5%. And Cresswell is 15.3%. Even Kufal is fairly well owned, but probably more of a differential there as an 8.4% ownership. But, 3 players for West Ham are really highly owned in the community. Is it time to reconsider them with tough fixtures, with the European problems, or they're so good at the moment that maybe it'll be, silly to go off them?
For me, I really like Antonio, and I'm going to keep him until it's proven that he is either injured or he's going to play very few minutes in Premier League. I don't think that's going to happen, but if that happens, I will get rid. But until then, I'm keeping. Defense, I had Sufal to start with, but I got rid on my wild card. they do not look solid at all. There are better options. I would rather have an Aston Villa defender, for example. That says something. And yeah, but Rahma, I do really like him. He is on his day, he's a really, really good player, isn't he? So at his price point, he is still a keep for me. We'll also see how Vlasic is getting on more and more, see what more game time he gets and what the rotation will be there. But I would be more keen to keep Antonio than Rahma if I had to pick. But I don't actually mind the double up of them too.
I mean, for me, the Benrahma ownership, it's difficult because he's not had a return for a little while now. You kind of look back. Oh, sorry, he did get the goal scored against Manchester United, but between that, he's had a blank against Crystal Palace, a blank against Southampton, and a blank against Leeds. And I feel like a lot of his opportunities, he's a good chance creator. So that's where a lot of it comes from. But in terms of his shots, he's a very kind of outside of the box, speculative shooter. And they're more kind of wonder goals from him. Whereas, I don't know, I feel like I'm considering the long-term value of him as a prospect, because there's also the problem of, is he now? Do you think going forward he is going to keep that spot? Because last season Moyes wasn't too happy. Vlasic might come in or be rotated with him, or is he playing for his position and he's proved it to Moyes? What do you think, Lynn?
I think at the moment he's proven himself. Vlasic, he's come on, he's got some minutes, but he's not been brilliant. Rahma has been a lot better, I would say. And yeah, I think what I like about him, he seems to have a really high ceiling, a bit like Antonio. Like if they go on they can hold both of them in one game, like 20 points, easy, one game. And for that game, I want to own Rahma.
There you go. In terms of the final discussion point, we're going to go. Lynn, you talked about Man City last game week. Do you want to switch attention to the red side of Manchester? Have a go at them. I mean, you're a Liverpool fan. Do you want to hate on Manchester?
Yes, can I?
Yeah, take it away.
Bruno, what's going on? He missed a penalty. Bruno Fernandes missed a penalty. And after that, he wrote 2 pages and posted on Twitter.
Needs to get himself a life.
Yeah,
apologizing for what?
Yeah, but like that's the sign of a broken man. The confidence is not there.
That's his PR. That's a sign that his PR team are trying to manage his public perception and persona. And no, I'm not having that. Like,
no. And do you think that filters through to the rest of the Manchester United team, Lynn?
Yeah, because he's the engine. He's been the engine. I mean, Pogba he's been decent. I would rather have Pogba in my team than Bruno at the moment.
Ooh, that's a big shout.
And also the defense, like you said, Ben, Lindelöf could maybe be an option now, because they're so bad that what could possibly go worse? I think a lot of people are going to use the excuse to ship Shaw this week for a Chelsea defender because of his injury, even though he's back soon. And I think that's a good idea.
And so does this almost fill you with delight that Manchester United, they go into a terrible run of fixtures, they haven't been in good form, and I mean, you guys play them soon as well. The Liverpool team are playing Manchester United in game week 9. It's obviously at Old Trafford, but are you going to set the Theatre of Dreams on fire?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this game because I think it's going to be a good one, as always, when it's United and Liverpool. But yeah, I'm feeling quietly confident we're going to smash them.
Oh, soundbite that. In terms, throw it to you, Ben. Man United, are they bad at the moment?
3 defeats in the last 4, if in all competitions. I just think Ollie is struggling to shoehorn in all of those offensive assets and maintain that balance within the squad. I think it requires a little bit of juggling, a little bit more finesse. He's remained with this double pivot, this McFred. He loves that. And if you're going to stick with that, then that's going to give you problems higher up the pitch because of, you know, your Marshalls, your Brunos, your Pogbas, your Greenwoods, your Cavani's, and your Rashford, who are on the verge of a return as well. You're managing big personalities. I don't know, I didn't even mention Ronaldo there, did I? I think I even missed him out. So it's difficult. Are they a bad team? No. Are they going through a little bit of a lull? Very much so. But I think the influence of you know, Ronaldo on that team, he has the ability to lift anybody. And even when, you know, 10 other players aren't playing so well, then he can single-handedly still bring home a bacon for United. I don't think the loss of Maguire and or Shaw is necessarily detrimental to the team. I think the players who will come in and do an equally as decent job as what they have done. They haven't been pulling up any trees, been pretty poor, if the truth be known. Certainly well below the standards of last season. So, no, the issue is it's the price points. And, you know, when you're looking at those United assets, you're spending a lot of cash. And for that, you need, or you would expect, returns. And you cannot really afford to go too many game weeks with them blanking. And you cannot afford Bruno to be missing penalties in injury time when you've had an absolute shocker of a game week again, and he is one of your 5 premium players again.
The premium 5 premium team, that must have been a big hit because obviously you didn't have Ronaldo. You've stuck with Bruno.
I wouldn't. The problem is, as much as I'll never have Ronaldo ever, and I say that with a tear in my eye. I will never ever own Ronaldo, not in a season-long FPL. Ownership is far too high, boring. What's the point? He scores a hat-trick, great. 75% of FPL score a hat-trick with him. No, thanks. Need point.
Well, in terms of the show then, that is it for this game week with the bad discussion point. Remember to check out yesterday's video of the good discussion points. We've had some heated discussions this week, actually. Also, remember to subscribe to the channel. Leave this video a like. It really helps us out. And comment below if you agree or disagree with what we've been discussing over the last couple of days. But for now, I'm going to wish you the best of luck with your teams. And we will see you next week for just a general discussion because it will be the International Game Week. And then after that, we'll go back into normal discussions. But for now, goodbye.